Hello, this is Dr. Sherelle Perkins. Now, I know that you have seen a cartoon where there is an angel on one side and the devil is on the other. Well, we want to change that scenario. We want to look at the hubris leader on one side and a leader of humility on the other. Through our human experience, we have an opportunity to either reflect a hubris leader, one that is prideful, arrogant, and self sufficient, or we have an opportunity to be a humble leader. Maybe you're wondering the difference. Let's explain. Hubris, pride, is characterized by excessive, prideful arrogance and self-conceit. It involves one's own importance and it is inflated based on one's own opinion. A hubris leader is caught up into what they want, what they think, what they believe, and they give no room for learning and growing, not only for others, but for themselves as well. Because when you contrast a hubris leader with a leader of humility, the qualities that you will find with a humble leader is that they're forever growing. They're forever developing. They have learned to listen to those that are their subordinates. In my life, some of the greatest wisdom has come from those that I least expect. So I have learned to have greater expectation for those around me so that I can continue to grow and develop myself. Because we know that a good leader is self-aware. A good leader understands their strengths and their weaknesses. And because they are self-aware, it causes them to be sensitive to those that are around them or in their sphere of influence. A good leader leads by listening. So let's do a little bit more. Let's go a little deeper. We live in a work environment where there are 5 generations of people working. You may be in a situation where you may be younger than some of your subordinates. You may be older than those that are under you. So it's very important that if we're going to develop cutting edge organizations, that we listen to all of the voices. I find in my own life, even though technology has been part of my life since about 1982, I started programming, working in information technology. But because of the rapid increase of technological advances and because of some of the things that I did not cultivate while I was actively involved in information technology, I'm finding that some of the most cutting edge information is brought into my life through those that are younger than I am. And it's really important. If you're going to be relevant in this world that we live in, you have to be open to the influence of all generations. If you're younger, grab the wisdom of those that have gone on before you. It may not seem relevant to you. It may not have used the same terminology that is currently that you're hearing. But listen and be aware of what's really been said, because you can learn and avoid a lot of mistakes by not making the mistakes that others have made before you. What about if you are older? What if that young person comes into your sphere of influence? He has a lot to bring to the table. Young people, you have a lot to bring to the table. And a leader with humility is more than willing to listen to what you have to say. We are living in a world with so many advantages, but we all have to learn from one another. We have to be willing to be trainable, willing to be humble leaders. So I ask you, are you self-serving, or is your main objective serving others? That's at the core of whether you're a hubris leader or whether you're a leader with humility. Are you open-minded? Are you willing to change? Are you willing to grow and develop? So let's look specifically at some contrasts. First one, a hubris leader is prideful and conceited, whereas a humble leader is respectful and aware of their limitations and the limitations of those around them. Yes, it's important to challenge our subordinates with stretch opportunities, to do things that maybe we as a leader see in them, but they don't see in themselves. But we know that with a little stretching, they can become brilliant. So a humble leader builds a sense of trust in the environment, because those around him realize that it really isn't about them. It's about building the best organization with the greatest amount of opportunities for all people to grow and develop. Let's look at another quality. Hubris leaders often make rash and impulsive decisions, not spending enough time to evaluate the consequences. Now, one of the things that I often share when I'm helping leaders put their decision in perspective is there are times when we're training a toddler that it is so important that they stop and pay attention because of the consequences. Don't touch the hot stove. Stand and wait before you cross the street. These are things that we often move very quickly to correct. Most of the time, we have an opportunity to be a little bit more cautious, more thoughtful, and weigh risk and benefits in making a decision. A humble leader is willing to do that because he realizes the time that it takes to stop and evaluate a situation will prove beneficial in the long run to empowering the organization. So a hubris leader will exchange long-term benefits for short-term results. Again, keep in mind, a hubris leader hinders the personal growth of everyone in the organization, including himself. It's easy when you are prideful and arrogant to get stuck, unwilling to listen to what others are saying. Even that still small voice that says, I don't recommend that you do that. A humble leader encourages openness, personal growth, new ideas for himself and for those around him. How did you do? Are you a hubris leader or a leader of humility? And maybe you're growing in your leadership development. So I advise you to decide to listen to the hubris leader that's sitting on one shoulder and saying, no, I'm not following you today, but I'm going to take the recommendation of the leader that's humble, teachable, and trainable.